Hi, everyone, and welcome to this presentation on sport and the sociological imagination. In his book, The Sociological Imagination, published in 1959, sociologist C. Wright Mills distinguished personal troubles from public issues and encouraged us to understand how the two are related. He referred to the sociological imagination as making the connection between personal troubles and public issues. Personal troubles refer to problems affecting an individual that the affected individual or other members of society typically blame on the individual's own failing or shortcoming. Often the people surrounding the individual will reinforce the belief that the source of the trouble lies within the individual. In my junior year in high school, I became aware of a small basketball league consisting of fifth graders from surrounding elementary schools in my hometown. I was invited by the varsity basketball coach at my high school to coach one of the fifth grade basketball teams. I agreed to do so, and at the very first practice with the boys, I noticed that some, but not all, of the fifth graders had trouble scoring baskets because they could not shoot the ball high enough to reach the rim. To compensate, the kids would shoot underhand or kind of heave the ball rather than stick to the proper shooting form that I was trying to teach them. I soon became aware that it was a no-win situation for these kids. If they used the proper shooting form, they did not have the strength to make the basket. And the bigger kids would shout air ball and taunt them in other ways. If they did not use the proper shooting form, the bigger kids would tease them by saying they shoot like a girl. It was apparent to me that some of the fifth graders blamed themselves for the trouble they had, and other boys on the team reinforced that belief through their teasing. To handle the situation, I took the team outside on the playground where there was a 7-foot high goal. Everything changed quickly. All of the boys began making baskets without having to heave the ball to the rim. I could focus on doing other fun things with them rather than shooting drills and breaking up fights. The lesson I learned that day was that the inability to make baskets for some of the boys was not just a personal trouble, but also a public issue. Because, as you probably know, the basketball goal in many public places is 10 feet high. Public issues are those circumstances that lie beyond one's personal control and the range of one's inner life. Examples include the way society is organized or the influence of tradition that people want to sustain. I'm not suggesting that all personal troubles are public issues. If just one fifth grader cannot make a basket and all other fifth graders are able to do so, then it would be reasonable and responsible to take a very close look at that individual kid and see what's going on with him or her. However, the trouble of shooting the ball high enough to reach the rim is not a personal problem experienced by just one fifth grader. It's a problem that thousands and thousands of fifth graders face, whether it be in a physical education class, at recess on the playground, a driveway basketball court at home, or on the court playing in a youth basketball league. When many thousands of people encounter a problem, it seems entirely appropriate to examine how norms, values, social arrangements produce these massive numbers instead of focusing entirely on personalities or other individual characteristics. I'm also not suggesting that the sociological imagination provides the best solution to personal troubles that many thousands of people face. It so happens that the varsity basketball coach did not care much for me having the boys shoot at the 7-foot goal. When I told him what I did, he asked me how high the goal would be in the league games. I responded they would likely be 10 feet. He said, of course. And that The goal should be 10 feet high in practices as well, so that they would be well prepared for the games. He had a fair point. Of course, one could argue that a 10-foot goal should be lowered to 9 foot or some other height for fifth graders. After all, Little League baseball pitchers don't throw the ball the standard 60 feet and 6 inches from the mound to home plate. They throw an adjusted distance of 46 feet. The sociological imagination does not tell us the right answer. What it does is uncover possibilities that people overlook because of the way they have been programmed to think. It encourages all of us to stop boxing our personal lives into isolated corners and to look at the broader horizon. How can we use the sociological imagination to understand other personal challenges in sports? What about the personal struggles that athletes experience when they use sport as a platform for political protest? I'm thinking of the very personal challenge of encountering public hostility, losing a spot on the team, losing a sponsor, or being stripped of a medal. If just one protester and not all of the others protesters face unpleasant consequences, then we might think about how the individual athlete contributed to his or her own problem. However, if many protesters share similar backlash, then we should not look at the character traits of those individual athletes, but at the norms, values, and the traditions associated with sports.